At this time, I'll invite to the podium Mrs. Jean Vanterpool, Director of Eureka Medical Clinic and Bougainvillea Clinic, who will be doing an opening remark and also our opening prayer.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Edwards. No, you start off on the wrong foot this morning, but I will do my best to stay dry. This morning, it is my, what shall I say, my duty, yet it is a sad one that we're gathered here to think of and memorialize Dr. Klas Buring, a kind, compassionate, loving doctor who has been a part of our establishment and this community for several years, since 2009, thereabout. And this morning, I'm glad that we have the occasion, though he's actually far removed from us back in Sweden, where he passed away. But, you know, we here are so appreciative of the services that he offered, the lives he touched, the lives he also healed by his professional skills God blessed him with. And so this morning, it's a great opportunity to come and remember him and to appreciate what he's done in our community. And to all of us here, I do on behalf of myself, and I think my husband will do that too, we really extend our sincere condolences to Avril and his two beautiful twin children, Marnie and Magnus. They're about 10 years old, I think, somewhere there, 8, 10. And he also has an adult daughter, and we want to just extend our condolences to all of them as they mourn the loss of a beautiful person in Dr. Buring. That is about, can we stand and then we just say a prayer, please? Let us bow our heads. O God and Father of all mankind, we're grateful for this time when we can come in your presence, though on a sad occasion, to say thank you. Thank you for the life of Dr. Buring. Thank you for the examples, the lessons learned from his compassion, the lessons learned from his empathetic life that he shared with us, the beautiful experience that so many have had with him, and his delivery of medical surgical care to this community, and also the many friends that he has made in this community who's been touched by his life. We remember him this morning, and we say thank you, because we are the better for knowing this wonderful person. We pray this morning that as we remember him, that you will encourage our hearts, you will encourage our thoughts, and that we will continue to have these beautiful memories that will live on in our lives and in the lives of all who crossed his path. God, we pray that you will be with us this morning. May the proceedings and this wonderful fellowship we are having or will have be considered and be memorialized, that families, wife, the children will see that he had friends. He had friends across the world, right here in the British Virgin Islands. And so we thank you. Bless us all, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. V. Okay, at this time, we will be having a musical selection from Hubert Wells. Hubert Wells is the son of one of our staff at Eureka, and that staff usually would do a lot of interpretations for Dr. Buring and, his Spanish-speaking patients. So at this time, Hubert.
Hello everyone, good morning. As you already know, my name is Hubert Wells. I'll be playing the saxophone. The song is You Raise Me Up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hubert. I want us to do something, to sort of bring a little bit of joy into the room. Just turn to your neighbor, and if you're sitting beside your spouse, turn to somebody else. And just say, it's so happy to see you this morning. Thank God for life. Thank God for that. Turn to the person behind you, in front. It's good to see you. It's good to be alive. I always say any day 6 foot above the earth is a good day, an excellent day. Yes, it's wonderful to be here this morning. We are going to have, at this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Dr. Hesketh Vanterpool, CEO and Medical Director of Eureka Medical and Bougainvillea Clinics, and he will be paying a tribute at this time to Dr. Buring.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Ms. Edwards. I wrote a book about Dr. Buring, but Ms. Edwards said I have only 5 minutes to speak, so I don't know how that will turn out. I also sat beside the great Dr. Harlan Vanterpool, and once I heard this beautiful music being played by Hubert Wells, I think I remember vaguely that Dr. Harlan Vanterpool also played the saxophone in school, or one of those instruments. I thought he was going to be playing the next rendition, but he's not. Anyway, I'll have to condense my book. But just to start, and while Nadine told me I don't need to go into history, as I get older, I find that history is so important to put things into perspective. It was around the year, Dr. Buring is actually one of the foundational doctors for Eureka and Bougainvillea Clinic as we develop both practices. In around 2007, my vision for developing a private hospital started to take shape. I purchased an acre of land right in the back here and had approval to put up a building to build a private hospital. But situations changed and forced me to negotiate with Dr. Robin Tattersall to buy out Bougainvillea Clinic, and so the rest of that is history as with regards to the purchase of Bougainvillea Clinic. At that time, there was an orthopedic surgeon here called Dr. Nagy Darwish that was working with me. He was actually doing some big operations up at Bougainvillea Clinic. Dr. Tattersall, who's not an anesthetist, actually performed the anesthetics for him so that he could do hip and knee replacement surgeries and other fairly big orthopedic surgeries. Nevertheless, when things changed, Dr. Darwish decided to leave the island after a while, and that was when, in about 2008, that Dr. Klas Buring was called in to replace him. Dr. Klas Buring came in, was a very experienced orthopedic surgeon from Sweden, but who had spent many, many years working in the UK, and both in general orthopedic and spinal surgery. And so when he came, he was able to make a major contribution both to Eureka Medical, Bougainvillea Clinic, and to People's Hospital in the field of orthopedics. And he has since then been a very valuable orthopedic doctor in providing service to people here in the BVI. One of the things that impressed me most about Dr. Buring was his empathy. I think you heard Mrs. Vanterpool, Jean, speak about his empathy. And empathy was one of his biggest characteristics. He had a connection with patients that was unusual to me. He would be frequently found in this day and age when not many doctors actually do home visits, Dr. Buring was frequently doing home visits to people who were unable to come into the clinic. And indeed, if they needed an x-ray, he would put them in his car and bring them into Eureka or Bougainvillea Clinic to have the x-ray and then take them home. It was very common for him to do that. Another area of empathy is that when he looked after his patients and patients didn't have the money to buy their medication, for instance, Dr. Buring took his own money and would buy medication for these patients. I don't know how frequently that happened, but I know that it happened on many occasions. He would go home and he would give the patients IV antibiotics if they weren't able to get out, and he would stay with them for hours while monitoring them. And so there was a great love that developed in the community for Dr. Buring. And when he would go back home to his wife and his young family, and he would spend weeks at home, his patients didn't want to go to any other doctor. They would stay and wait, if possible, until he returned, because they say, no, Dr. Buring is my doctor, I'm not going anywhere else. One of the most empathetic cases is one where there was a young woman about 16 or 17 years old who was with her parents here. She was not a BV Islander. The parents were not BV Islanders. They did not have medical insurance. I think it was just before the National Health Insurance started. This young lady had a condition where one of her vertebrae slipped forward. The upper vertebra slipped forward on the vertebra below at the bottom of the spine. And this would pinch her nerves, and she would almost be paralyzed in her lower legs. She wouldn't be able to stand for very long. She was in a lot of pain, and I believe there might have been some issues with her other bodily functions down there. And it was a very complicated and difficult case. Dr. Buring spent approximately a year trying to figure out the best way he could help this patient. And it was difficult surgery, and if she was sent abroad to the United States or wherever, it would be more than $100,000 to do the surgery. It was told that she should be referred maybe to England and that they may be able to help her there, but the surgery that was being proposed when she went there, he didn't think was necessarily the best surgery, and the doctors that she was being sent to were not, to him, in his opinion, the best doctors for this particular type of surgery. In one of his, and he went regularly to orthopedic conferences. Even at his age, he kept up his orthopedic education. And at one of these orthopedic conferences, he met an African surgeon who was one of the world's experts in fixing that kind of problems. And that doctor moved from country to country, just helping people in a very benevolent manner. So Dr. Buring was able to convince the doctor to find a group of orthopedic surgeons in Puerto Rico where he could fly over and actually perform the surgery in Puerto Rico at minimal cost. I think it was actually free to the patient ultimately. Dr. Buring himself went over to Puerto Rico with the patient, and guess what? He was actually able to get involved in the surgery himself. I don't know what he did. He probably put on scrubs and stood by in the operating theater, but he said he was able to go into the operating theater. That young lady is now virtually normal. She could walk, stand. You're in the back? So you're the young lady. Can you stand up, please? Yeah. My goodness. I keep saying young lady because when I started to write my book, it was a bit late and I couldn't find it. So she is not, look, she just stood up and she's functioning normally after that. I cried, to be honest, when Dr. Buring did all of that. I don't think he cried, but I cried when I appreciated how this man, I think he went over there for about a whole week and spent the week over there working with you. What's your name, young lady? Tiwana Andrews. Ah, yes, that's the name, Tiwana Andrews. And thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, Dr. Buring. And your story is like, to me, the biggest one, but there were lots of others that were a bit less impressive, but still necessary that he was able to do that kind of stuff. Anyway, you know, life has its 5 minutes gone already? No, 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes yet. My 5 minutes has a zero at the end. We all are growing older. We all are growing older, and I realize that I'm not as young as I used to be either. And as Dr. Buring got older, I'm going to take the liberty to speak some things about his health that I believe he would have been happy for me to say, even though I haven't spoken to Avril on this. About 7 years ago, roughly, I'm not sure the exact date, Dr. Buring developed a lump in his breast, and it turned out to be breast cancer. Now, I'm making this statement because Dr. Buring was an advocate for promoting breast health, mammography, and so on. It is not common for men to get breast cancer, but probably about 1% of cancers, breast cancers, are among men, or maybe a little bit less. But Dr. Buring did have breast cancer. He had successful surgery, and then he went on to have further therapy like radiation, and I think he had chemotherapy, and he seemed to have beat that cancer. He came back to work, he was fine, doing everything, still strong, and despite the fact that you see that he died at the age of 86, right down until the last minute, Dr. Buring was mentally and physically strong. And when people ask me, so when is Dr. Buring going to retire? I said, well, I don't have a retirement age. As long as he is mentally and physically capable of looking after patients and he's safe in what he's doing, he's welcome to continue working at Bougainvillea Clinic. So he continued to work there. He had some other medical issues, and unfortunately, towards the end, of course, all of us are going to go one day. Something is going to catch us, even though we appear strong. And, you know, unfortunately, we have lost Dr. Buring and the contributions he made to the clinic, to the people of the British Virgin Islands, and to his wonderful family, his wife Avril and his two children, Magnus and Marnie, I think that the names. I just would like to give my heartfelt condolences from Eureka Medical Clinic, Bougainvillea Clinic, and this whole BVI to you. I trust that you remain strong, and as you grow, you will know that people in the British Virgin Islands love all of you. Just be strong. Thank you all very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vanterpool. Before we move on to our next item, I would like to acknowledge as well the presence of Dr. Kendrick Pickering and wife. We know Dr. Pickering. Dr. Pickering, can you stand, please, so that our audience can see you? Thank you so very much. We want to welcome you and your wife, Mrs. Pickering, this morning. At this time, we will have another tribute by Mrs. Melanie Khan. Unfortunately, Mrs. Khan had to be away on a personal matter, and so in her stead, we will have her tribute read by Abigail Cooper, one of her team members.
Good morning. Good morning, all. My name is Melanie Khan, popularly known as Sabrina. It is an honor today to pay tribute to Dr. Buring, and I still can't believe I am typing these words, whom I have known as part of our Eureka family for 15 years. There is no definition for the unique, friendly rapport we share. Some may fondly describe me as his copy and paste expert. Basically, Dr. Buring will seek my help for little glitches to format his Word document or computer errors. Often, it is an easy fix, and there is a few I may have to contact IT department on his behalf. I would sometimes be called in while he's in consult with a patient to discuss an insurance matter or advise on referral. Whatever it is along these lines, I am the first point of contact. I remember the first time he arrived to the clinic, as usual, the polite, easygoing person we all know him to be. We had to adjust to the new accent and quickly learned the new attributes to his gentle heart. His unwavering kindness to details with each and every patient is what stood out to me. He would often come to me with stashes of paperwork to discuss particular details of each case. Usually, it's along the line of needing guidance on NHI coverage after he has seen the patient in most instances more than 3 times in 30 days, but won't write a checkout sheet for all these visits. Dr. Buring is known for going the extra mile and beyond for his patients, often recalling them to check on their progress and adjust medication. He would never give the impression that he is in a hurry and do not have the time. The ladies translating for him can attest to this. It may be past their shift, but he is keen to give the patients the time needed for a thorough consult. In cases where a patient may have physical challenges reaching the clinic, this doctor would find the patient even if it takes him out of his way. Perhaps this is how bone became so popular. He would reach East or West End if that's where the patient is, and in some cases won't even charge for the visit. This type of unique care will not be documented in any EMR notes, but listening to his patients carefully, one would understand how much they appreciate his kindness. There is in fact so much we can speak on when it comes to his care and his patients, but his love for his family is selfless. The level of affection, healthy attachment, and respect is remarkable. Upon return of each trip to visit Avril, Marine, and Magnus, I would be called for an update. His love and dedication to his family was so evident each time he spoke about them. Their move from the UK to Sweden was a huge highlight, and the children's adjustment to the new school environment and new language was dear to him. As adaptive of children are, Dr. Buring faced was filled with pride as he updated me on how fluent the children spoke Swedish, his mother's tongue. Often, he is eager to find out about my family as well. There is always encouraging words for my children, and he would be so pleased to learn the new things happening in their life. There are so many things I can speak of with his unique relationship and his gentle soul. He is truly one of a kind, and I am so honored to have known him. It still feels like he is just on one of his holidays and will be back. Unfortunately, this time he won't. For Avril, Marine, Mary, Magnus, and Mayano, few people possess the considerate, unselfish, loving heart that I have seen in Dr. Buring, and even fewer are willing to give so much of themselves. This is why he is very much appreciated and a true angel to many, many people, and he has left a remarkable legacy here in the BVI. I close with this little poem by Susan Polish Switch. There are many people that we meet in our lives, but only a few will make a lasting impression on our minds and hearts. These people will always listen and talk to you. They will care about your happiness and well-being. They will like you for who you are, and they will support you at all times. It is these rare people that we will think often of and will always remain close to us as true friends. I am fortunate to have had you as a true friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Indeed, he was a wonderful, wonderful person. Before we have our next tribute, I remember I was having some pain in my left hand, and the pain was just there for days. And I remember it got so bad one morning. I was at work, my other colleagues, they came around, they tried to, set it nicely on the chair arm. But my hand wasn't it was just in so much pain. And Melanie, Sabrina, whose tribute was just read, she came to my office and she said, Miss Edwards, you've got to see Dr. Buring. And I'm like, no, man, Dr. Buring will inject you and all of that. And you're trying to run away from the injection and all of that. And so Melanie left, and I thought that was it. But then I saw Dr. Buring dash around the corner to my office, and he was like, Miss Edwards, Melanie said that you're having a problem. Please come to my office now. So I had to, okay. And I went to Dr. Buring's office, and I was so scared. I said, Dr. Buring, can you just call back Melanie to come and stay with me? And he went back to Melanie, and he said, Miss Edwards needs you to hold her hand while she gets the injection. And Melanie came, I got the injection, I went back to my office, the pain subsided. To this day, I've never felt that pain again. And I am like, this man is just so wonderful, so caring, so awesome. And I too am just one of those persons who, is so blessed to have known this wonderful, wonderful soul. And we do appreciate all that he has done for us and at Eureka. At this time, we're going to have Nurse Ephraim from the Bougainvillea Clinic, private hospital. She's going to come and pay her tribute to Dr. Buring. And Nurse Ephraim will be followed by Dr. Juliet Jackson Wade with another tribute.
I acknowledge the protocol already established, and good morning to everyone. When we heard the news that our beloved Dr. Buring passed away on July 17th, his patients, colleagues, and our community were deeply saddened. Our territory has lost a wonderful doctor, and his passing is a profound loss for all who knew him. It is fitting that we pay tribute to Dr. Buring's career, legacy, and his strong testament to the value of the patient-centered care he embodied throughout his life. His dedication and compassion will long be remembered. Staff members fondly recall Dr. Buring as being exceptionally kind, caring to everyone, staff, patients, and families alike. He always ensured that he referred patients to the appropriate physicians, ensuring they received the best possible care. In September 2017, when Hurricane Irma devastated the British Virgin Islands, Dr. Buring recounted an incident where he was walking through Wold Town and witnessed some individuals looting. He videotaped the looters, and when they realized that they were being recorded, they chased after him. Dr. Buring managed to run as fast as he could, ultimately escaping from the looters. Dr. Buring loved to dance, and many remembered him as a star dancer at staff parties and other functions. Although others often wanted to leave before the party ended, Dr. Buring would stay and dance until the last song was played. He cherished his family deeply and would often share pictures and updates with staff, especially after returning from his trips. In reflection, we have penned together this acronym: B, benevolent; U, unique; R, respectful; I, inspirational; N, nurturing; G, graceful and generous. Dr. Buring has left an indelible mark on all our lives. We are truly grateful for the time God has granted him to be here with us on earth. Take your wings, Dr. Buring. You are gone, but never forgotten. May his soul rest in peace and rise in glory. From the management and staff of the Bougainvillea Clinic Limited, I thank you.
Good morning. It is with heaviness of heart and at the same time captivity of loveliness as petals fall from above that I speak about my colleague and my friend, Dr. Klas Buring. Sunrise, October 2nd, 1937. Sunset, July 17, 2024. From a career standpoint, Dr. Buring's patients really adored him. They liked his compassion, his thoughtfulness, his medical expertise as he skillfully managed their cases. The alleviation of pain and suffering was his motto. The day I got the news of his passing, a patient of his was sitting across from my desk. She heard the news simultaneously with me. She looked at me with tears in her eyes, and a deep-seated anguish resonated from her facial expression. She said, and I quote, "Dr. Wade, I am going to miss Dr. Buring. He has been my orthopedic doctor for 11 years, and one major thing I admire about him was his dedicated faithfulness towards medical care." I understood her wholeheartedly because many more of his patients have expressed the same sentiments to me over the years with regards to him. One defining memory I have of him was when Dr. Buring met me in the passageway and he said, "Dr. Wade, guess what? My wife is pregnant and we're having twins." I could see the joy on his face, the twinkling in his eyes, and the pushing forward of his chest as he stood like a roaring lion, ready to remind the jungle that he's the master of it all. From my outlook, I was shocked. I started laughing incredulously because it reminded me of the early days with my children and the responsibility that came with them. For example, the diaper phase, the potty training, the late night hours walking them back and forth, the constant crying for parental attention. As I conceptualized what he said to me, it drove my mind into thoughtfulness as I kept thinking, how can this man be so joyous when chaos is at his doorsteps? However,
As the years progresses and I watch him interact with his little family as they grow, he would dance more. He would laugh more. His peace of mind and happiness was noted in the rapid steps through the corridors of Eureka. Illness, my last encounter. I received a call from Dr. Buring. It appears he was not feeling well. He presented with fever, coughing, shortness of breath, decrease in appetite, and generalized malaise for about 4 to 5 days. When I physically saw him, he looked very ill. Medical management was activated with a group of our healthcare workers. There was lab works, chest x-ray, immediate infusion of IV fluid as dehydration was noted. The application of antipyretics and antibiotics followed. Investigative tool confirmed a diagnosis. After completion of his immediate medical treatment, we ensured that we satisfied his hunger craving. He wanted goat soup. He completed the bowl of goat soup with enthusiasm. He went home on medication and with authority to take a few days off. Daily phone calls to monitor his progress was mandatory. It was a cohesive experience because it was personal for us at Eureka. I physically saw him a few days later. He was looking much better. He even mentioned that he was going home soon to see his loving family in Sweden. That was my last encounter until I got the saddening news of his passing. However, the irony of life is, out of bitterness, sweetness arises. He died in the presence of his loving family, his wife and his children, and I know that gave him comfort as he transitioned to another phase of life. As we at Eureka Medical Clinic mourn the loss of our colleague, Dr. Klas Buring will be remembered for the joy, the positivity that he has brought to our workplace. Our thoughts are with his family during this difficult time. Farewell, farewell, and may our colleague and friend rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wade. At this time, we will invite to the podium Dr. Harlan Vanterpool, who is the president of the BVI Medical Association. After Dr. Vanterpool, we will have Astrid Wentz, I hope I pronounced it right, who is a family friend of Dr. Vanterpool, of Dr. Buring, and Astrid will be doing the eulogy for us. Dr. Vanterpool.
Pleasant good morning, everyone. Friends and colleagues of Dr. Buring, I see so many of you here this morning. I'm tasked with saying a few words on behalf of the British Virgin Islands Medical Association. And first of all, that's a privilege and a pleasure for me to do so. But more importantly, I want to say a few words as a friend and colleague of Dr. Buring. Permit me to say that one of the things that I thought about this morning when I woke up is what legacy is about. And I thought about my friend Dr. Buring and what his legacy would be to these islands, to the world, to his children, to his family. And that is very important because a lot of times we don't think about, as we continue the journey of life and just living, we don't think about or dying. And it's very surreal when you have to think about what would actually happen when we die? What would people say if we could only hear them? What words of affirmation and kindness and all these lovely things that people say at funerals? But what do they really mean? Have we lived them genuinely? So I thought about what a legacy of a guy, my friend Dr. Buring, and his legacy. I heard it being said in so many different words: dedication, kindness, loving, all these words. And, you know, I can't help but see his smile, his infectious smile. That's one of the things that you knew about Dr. Buring. Every time you see him, he would give you this smile, genuine smile. And so his legacy is one that I'm going to wrap up in a few words. I put an acronym together, Dr. Klas Buring, which I will share with you briefly. But I just want to tell you, I recall one of my encounters, many encounters with Dr. Buring. First of all, Dr. Buring visited my office at NHI more than any other physician in this country. I could tell you that. Dr. Buring was a relentless advocate for his patients. And just as it was mentioned earlier, when they talked about him finding out what's going on with NHI and Sabrina and that kind of stuff, he would always come to me seeking advice at how we can find a way to help patients. But of course, when he came to me to have these discussions, I have to put aside at least an hour for Dr. Buring, because Dr. Buring is somebody that is going to ask you about your family, about your friends, about many things. Our conversation to be extensive. And he was ever so proud of his family, Avril and the children. He always gave me the update. He would pull out his iPad and he would show me what they're doing and this different stages. I was living their lives as they were growing up with him. Every time he would come to the office, I know that it's going to be a while. So I can't let him come at the middle of the day. I have to leave him till the end of the day, around 4 or 5 o'clock. That was a good time for Dr. Buring to come because probably going to be a little while. So I always remember that his ultimate, relentless pursuit of patient, his advocacy for the patients is, I've never seen anything like it. So that is one of the endearing things and enduring things that I remember as his part of his legacy. So, friends and colleagues of Dr. Buring, as we stand here to celebrate this gem of a man, even though it's a sad occasion, I find it one that is still joyous for me because I have so many memories of Dr. Buring. Most of you would not know how close Dr. Buring and I actually were, right? We traveled together. We went to conferences together. I've gone to conferences with Dr. Buring. We've done a lot. We've had coffee, we've had dinners together. So I don't know that a lot of people know that, and he was one of those persons that you would always look forward to spending time with. You know, genuinely, some people, it's a burden to spend time with them after a while. No, it was never that way with Dr. Buring. Very easy, very natural to spend lots of time around him. All right, and so permit me on behalf of the Medical Association to just surmise the words Dr. Klas Buring in words really quickly. DR, doctor, dedication to his craft and reliable, very reliable person. Once he said that he's going to do something, he's going to be there for you. And you could rely that if he said he's going to visit you, he will be there. Klas, K-L-A-S, kind-hearted, loving, appreciative, and dedicated service. Dr. Buring was one of those doctors that service above self. He constantly provided service, and it's been talked about, you know. And as we talked and discussed the life of Dr. Buring here today, it is clear that we all agree that service was one of the things that exemplified his life. Lastly, Buring, a beautiful soul, ultimate friend and family man, relentless patient advocate. His integrity spoke through in everything that he did, his nurturing nature, and his genuine heart. All these things classify, exemplify, speak to our friend and colleague, Dr. Klas Buring. I would sincerely miss him. The members of the Medical Association and this medical fraternity in the BVI will sincerely miss Dr. Buring. The community at large of the British Virgin Islands will certainly miss Dr. Buring. You know, and then in closing, I just want to say to his family, his wife Avril, his sons and daughter, Magnus and Marnie, and his eldest daughter, can't recall the name right now, but to you guys, remember that Dr. Buring was loved not only by you, but he was loved by this community here in the British Virgin Islands. We would forever miss him, and certainly his legacy will live on. So I want to say, on behalf of the Medical Association and Medical Fraternity, that may his soul rest in eternal peace until we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harlan Vanterpool. Grateful for that. And something that you said that I want to pivot on, and just to remind all of us about our legacy. You know, what is it that we would like for persons to say about us when our time comes? Because all of us, as radiant as we look now, beautiful as we are, ladies, gentlemen, as up there as our chests are right now, one day our time will come. And what is it that we would like others to say about us? I truly hope that as we celebrate the life of Dr. Buring, that you think about your legacy as well, and that you will indeed leave one that is beautiful for your children, grandchildren, and great-grands. Thank you so much again, Dr. Vanterpool. Astrid?
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Good morning, dear friends of Dr. Klas Eric Robert Buring. I recognize the protocol already established. However, I have to send profound greetings and my profound love to his wonderful wife, Avril, to his oldest daughter, Miana, to his lovely twins, Magnus and Marnie, and his beloved sisters, Lena and Eva. We're thinking of you, we're sending our love to you. I'm humbled and very proud to have been designated to share with you some memories of Dr. Klas Buring, a wonderful father, a loving husband, a cherished brother, and to the entire BVI, a doctor who will be dearly missed by everyone whose life he touched. Dr. Klas Buring, best known as the Bone Doctor, was born on 2nd October 37 and left us very unexpected on the 17th July 2024 at the grand age of 86. Klas was born in Uppsala, one of the oldest cities in Sweden. As a child, not only was he studious, but also involved in many activities and had many adventures. He was very active in the Boy Scouts. In the early 1950s, He and two of his friends dressed in their uniforms and cycled from Uppsala to Germany. That's approximately 2,000 miles. Before starting the journey, his mother gave him some money and told him to go somewhere special for lunch with his friends. On the way back, they stopped in Copenhagen, Denmark, and went to what at that time was a very famous restaurant, the Seven Small Homes. With a lot of self-confidence, Klas asked for a window table. He was 13 years old. His father was impressed with his confidence. His interest in the world and travel did not stop there. He was sent to live with his aunt in California. He attended school, and at the age of 12, he won the first prize in a statewide competition where children were asked to write an essay about the US government. Klas played ice hockey, was diving, skied, did cross-country ski competitions, and was part of an international running club called the Hush Hout Harriers. He played the trumpet, loved to swing dance, enjoyed jazz music, and drove a beige London taxi. He was also known for wearing Donald Duck feet to make his young patients laugh, and wearing shoes with inbuilt rollerblades to move down hospital corridors more quickly. He liked to dress fashionably and stylishly. He once boarded an Air France flight wearing an Icelandic cloak given to him by his mom. The pilot and air hostess were so impressed, they applauded him. As the years went on, he was to be seen wearing Hawaiian shirts, Scottish kilts, as well as a United Nations uniform. He studied medicine and obtained his medical degree in Sweden's Lund University in 1965 and defended his PhD in 1974. At age 27, he became a research fellow at the University of Los Angeles, California. He worked with Marshall Urist, a doctor who was known for his work about cell growth in bones. After his return to Sweden, he worked at the orthopedic clinic in the Malmö hospital. Klas was then appointed as consultant and chief of service in orthopedics in Sundsvall, Sweden. He was at this time the youngest ever chief of service in Sweden. His career in Sundsvall was not without controversy. One night he was called by a farmer asking him for help, as his dog had broken its leg, and he couldn't contact the local vet. Well, Klas being Klas and a dog lover, he went to attend to the dog. The farmer was pleased and grateful, but somehow the news got out and the story made the local newspaper. Some people thought it was fine. Others questioned whether a doctor should be helping a dog. Klas took it in his stride and felt that his skills should be used to benefit all. During his military service in 1963, Klas volunteered for the United Nations Peacekeeping Force and was stationed in Gaza. In 1981, he started what was to become a lifelong and unique international career. He was recruited to Kuwait, together with more than 75 Swedish academic doctors, to develop the healthcare system and the medical faculty. There he was appointed associate professor in orthopedics. After Saddam Hussein invaded the country, he became consultant in Bahrain. Continuing with his love to the Middle East, Klas went to work in the Sultanate of Oman. This was to be an experience he would always hold dear to his heart. Klas was one of the very few Swedish doctors who learned Arabic, and those who was able to communicate directly with his patients. He became involved in working with others to prevent the abuse that many maids from Asia were subjected to by their Kuwaiti families. One night, a young Omani man was brought to the hospital after being involved in a serious and life-threatening accident. Klas operated where he could and then contacted a specialist who was a friend in Switzerland. He then accompanied the young man to Switzerland to work with his friend and supervise his care. Through his actions, the young man's family came to trust and respect Klas. This led to a lifelong friendship with the family. When he decided to leave Oman, he chose to work in less warm-up parts of the world. He moved to Scotland and continued his career. He went on to work in London, the Isle of Man, as well as a locum consultant orthopedic surgeon in Denmark and Norway. Klas was well known at the hospitals, not only for his work and care towards patients, but also for his mode of transport. He would appear at his office dressed in motorbike leathers, as he had ridden his beloved BMW motorbike to work. In 2008, Klas answered an advert in the British Medical Journal for what he thought would be a 3-month contract working in the BVI. He had never even heard about the Virgin Islands. But Klas, being Klas, thought, well, why not? In the years that followed, Klas was so happy that being part of the BVI allowed him to continue in the profession he so loved. Being a doctor was not just a job, but a vocation. It is what he wanted to do since he was a child. He felt that it was a privilege to be able to serve the community. He loved being in the territory, his colleagues, his patients, and his friends. In a tribute from his friend Tom Gerger, past president of the Rotary Club of Tortola and co-owner of the single-engine Cessna 210 airplane, he recalls the amazing work Klas did during the BVI airlift to Haiti in 2010, in the weeks following the devastating earthquake in Port-au-Prince. He volunteered to fly over to Port-au-Prince, where doctors were badly needed. The Rotary Club gave him a satellite phone so he could communicate to let us know what was needed. The health facilities in Port-au-Prince were very primitive. One of the first things he had to do was to go to the supermarket to buy a saw so he could amputate limbs on survivors coming up from Port-au-Prince. He described the arduous overland journey these survivors had to take. He called to say he was saving lives, only to have his patients dying from infections. He pleaded for antibiotics, which we were able to deliver. He was able to relay needs for food and shelter, which we were able to deliver in limited quantities. It was that experience that bonded Klas and Tom forever as very good friends. In 2019, Klas was humbled to be awarded a Paul Harris Fellow by the Rotary Club of Tortola. It is the highest award to be presented for humanitarian services by the Rotary International Foundation. He always wore his PHF pin with pride. He fought quietly and tirelessly for access to medical care for individuals with life-threatening conditions, at times paying from his own pocket when needed. He was known and loved for his care and compassion towards others. His patients, who often became friends, called him an old-fashioned doctor, as he took time to deal with the person and not just with the illness. He built and continuously nurtured lifelong friendships with people from all over the world. Klas had a thirst for knowledge and continued throughout his life to research and learn as much as possible about new medical inventions to ensure that he could offer the best help to his patients. He went to the extent to buy a portable ultrasound machine linked to his iPad while working for Eureka Medical Clinic, and was therefore able to immediately talk to his patients about needed treatment. Klas always looked forward. He loved life, he loved his work, and he found balance and love in family and friends. A friend kindly described Klas as an excellent physician and colleague who exemplified that all physicians should strive to be. Most importantly, he was an exemplary father, friend, and all-round wonderful human being. His grandfather referred to him affectionately as a gold nugget. This most international orthopedist will be dearly missed. He died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. He is survived by his wife Avril, his daughter Miana, his beloved twins Mani and Magnus, his grandchild Zachary, and his sisters Lina and Eva. May his gentle soul rest in eternal peace. I'd like to add something of my personal experience with Dr. Klas. Every once in a while, my phone would ring. Oh, Astrid, I'm just leaving the office. I have to go to West End. You got a glass of red wine? Of course, I always had a glass of red wine. He said, you know, I have to show you. I bring my iPad. You have to see the pictures. I just got new pictures from the twins. You have to see them. I am so proud of them. And he enjoyed the visit when he came to Seacoast Bay, because there he could brush up on his very fluent German that he spoke, which is my mother's tongue. But since I grew up in Sweden, our conversation was usually very multilingual, mixed up from Swedish, English, and German. And he had so much fun doing it. I will miss him very much.
Thank you so much, Astrid. At this time, we're going to be having a dance by Nalani Ashton, If I Had Known. Sorry, apologies. We're just going to sort out a little technical issue and then we'll be ready. Just give us a few seconds, please. Thanks.
been trying to forget all the moments that we spent, 'cause now I do it on my I still see you in the places we would go. Your face is painted on the walls. Been trying to forget all the moments that we spent, 'cause now I do it on my own. Oh, you and I were like the summer, but now it's winter here on my own. If I would've known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would've made the moments last a little longer. 'Cause now I'm alone, and you're just a memory in my mind. I would've given anything to say goodbye. If I would've known. If I would've known. Oh, I remember we would laugh all the time, but now you're not around. And I'm just trying to find something else to fill the empty spaces you left behind. But nothing ever seems to work. I've been thinking about the things that you used to say, even though around. You're in my head every day, but it's fine, I don't mind. I promise I'll be okay. If I would've known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would've made the moments last a little longer. 'Cause now I'm alone, and you're just a memory in my mind. I would've given anything to say goodbye. If I would've known. If I would've known.
Thank you so much, Nalani. If I had known, I don't want us to say that to our friends and our families. If I had known, I want us to cherish every moment that we have. I know sometimes it's a bit difficult to get where they are. Sometimes they're in other countries. But as much as you possibly can, especially if you have your family with you, please never ever let a day go by and you don't tell them that you love them. Never let a day go by and you don't tell them that you care, that you don't hug them, that you don't kiss them, that you don't bless your children before they leave your house. And even if they're adult children, you bless them every day just the same, because we don't know and we don't want to say, if I had known, that we would make the moment last a little longer. We want every day that we get up, every day that we can raise our legs and we can put them on the floor, we are alive. We want to ensure that we take care of each other. Thank you very much, Nalani. We should be having a tribute now from Mrs. Buring, but we are having a little issue where that is concerned. So we're going to move right along and hopefully she would be able to join us. At this time, we will have a tribute from Margaret White Cole, who is the president and the founding member of the Breast Cancer Awareness Club. Dr. Buring was a part of this club, as Dr. Vanterpool told us earlier. He also had a cancer earlier. And so, Margaret, please come and share with us.
Good morning, everyone. I recognize the protocol that has already been established. And I am a little nervous, but it's not just because I'm afraid of the stage, because if you know me, you know that I'm not. It's just that she said it and it became my reality. I don't think they can hear me in the back. Can't hear me, right? Can you hear me better now? Okay, so good evening, good morning, everyone. Again, I was saying it's not that I'm shy, it's just that I'm really passionate about what just happened. When you said it, Ms. Edwards, it became a reality. I realized that Dr. Buring really is no longer with us. And before I go into the Breast Cancer Awareness Club, Ms. Edwards chose me to do this part because she said, I am not emotional and I won't cry, so I will not make a liar out of her. At least I'll try. Again, my name is Margaret White-Cole, and I'm the coordinator of the Breast Cancer Awareness Club that was established in 2009 through Eureka Medical Clinic and a small group of ladies that were called the Ladies of SAS. It has been 16 years since we have been in function, and our goal and objective was always to be there for persons who are struggling with breast cancer. When the group first started, there was not much about pink in the British Virgin Islands. So with Eureka being the mother of that small group, we had a function in the Noah Lloyd Park. And you would have thought that, you know, pink and men? No. Dr. Buring wasn't shy. He decided that he was going to wear his pink t-shirt. And he was there with us, supporting the cause, speaking with persons in the community about the disease and about how it is that they can get medical assistance and support from that. Little did Dr. Buring know that years later, he would be a part of those groups that needed that support or would need that medical care. One of the things that we have to say about men is that they do not go to the doctor. Well, Dr. Buring did not stand by that. He knew what was happening. He felt that lump and he get himself sorted out. Dr. Buring was a warrior. I don't use survivors when I'm talking about breast cancer patients. I'm saying that warriors, because if you have ever gone through breast cancer or any disease for that matter, then you would understand what I mean by that. Remember I said in 2009 that the Ladies of SAS and Eureka Medical Clinic came up with this thing to support a breast cancer survivor? Yes, that breast cancer survivor was me. I was diagnosed in 2009 with invasive breast cancer, and that was why that group came together to lend support. When Dr. Buring became a patient himself, that said group rallied behind him. And while he might not need us to do anything financially, but emotionally we were there because that is something that is also needed. In 2016, Dr. Buring was called on to be the guest speaker of what we call our meet and greet. And in his speech there, he spoke about his journey as a breast cancer warrior. But one of the things that impressed me most about him as a warrior, he said that at that time, I think he was probably about 79, 80, and he said that breast cancer, or cancer rather, is a word, not a sentence. So you do not have to lose your life because of it. You do not have to go into a den and be there by yourself. He believed in fighting. And anything that I am going to say for the rest of this little discussion or this speech is basically a summary of what was said before. If one person said it, you might have questioned whether or not it was so. But all the speakers so far have said the same thing. So even if it is not completely true, which it is, it must be important. Dr. Buring was not just a regular person. For me, he was beyond that. I've had the privilege of working with him as a nurse, and he taught me things in orthopedic that I would not have learned otherwise. His willingness to teach is what gave me the experience to be able to carry out my duty while I was working with him. And for that, I'll be eternally grateful. The person of Dr. Buring. When you go into his office as a person, Ms. Edwards, I'm so sorry. He would go to his desk or to his computer, and he would take that iPad out. And he would say, "This is my daughter. This is Moana. She's the sweetest actress. And he said it with such pride. And then he would look at the girls and he would talk about his 2 girls, and then he would talk about his son. And then he would speak of his wife in a manner that is worthy of imitation. I'm going to stop here because I can't go much further without losing who I am. A couple of years ago, Dr. Buring did something for me, and it's not me, guys, he didn't do it for me. He did it in our presence. There was a young lady that was diagnosed with cancer, and Dr. Buring took on the responsibility of this young lady until the day she passed. Ms. Edwards said that this is about Dr. Buring's memory. And the goal for all of us is that we can impact at least one person with our existence, then we would have lived a good life. Dr. Buring has impacted all of us here today, and that's why we are present. Ms. Edwards, to you and the team of Eureka Medical Clinic, thank you so much for giving us at the Breast Cancer Awareness Club the opportunity to say goodbye to Dr. Buring. He impacted us, he came, he conquered, and he left his mark. And I know that Eureka will not be the same without him. Dr. Vanterpool in his speech said, Dr. Buring replaced Dr. Darwish. I know it's a wording thing, but I'm certain that the orthopedic doctor that comes next will have a very big shoe to fill, because it's not about the medicine, it's about the person that he was. So to his family, wherever you are in the world, to his daughter, Mahana, to his son, Magnus, to Marme, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these names correctly, and to Avril, his wife. Thank you so much for sharing him with us. Thank you for giving us a glimpse of the person that he was, and we will forever cherish that memory as we go forth and live our lives, at least to a minute amount of who Dr. Buring was. Thank you all very much.
At this time, thank you so much, Nurse Margaret. At this time, we are going to be having a musical selection from one of our colleagues, Petra Samuel Roberts, and she's going to truly sing for Dr. Buring at this time.
Good morning to everyone. I would like to extend my deepest condolences to Dr. Buring's family. I'm sure we are all saddened by his loss, and I will love to dedicate this song to his wife and his dear children. We all had an experience with Dr. Buring. My experience one time was we had to close early because of because of the weather, and Dr. Buring had me there, and he had to complete while everybody was out, and he made sure that I was well before I left. Also, when the music started, I can assure you that Dr. Buring was the first one on the dance floor, and I had my time dancing with him as well. Those are memories that will last. So to Avril and the children, be comforted at this time.
when you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just be found like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the streets, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and coverage over troubled water, I will down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver boy, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Roberts. Awesome, awesome song. Like a bridge over troubled waters. We want to be there for Avril, the children, like that bridge. So thank you so very much. We're still trying our best. Oh, she is here now. Uh, okay. Can you hear us, Avril? Okay. Oh, we're not hearing her. One moment, Avril. All right, can you hear me?
Oi.
Yes. We're hearing you.
Okay. Okay. Is that comfortable for everybody? Okay. It's been very emotional, so I will try my hardest not to cry as I have been crying all the time. Firstly, I would like to offer my heartfelt thanks to all of you honourable guests and friends for choosing to celebrate the life and contributions of Dr. Buring, often known as Doc, in such a special, thoughtful, loving and beautiful way. Klas would be truly humbled and deeply honoured to think he was held in such high regard. He loved being in the BBI and serving the community. He felt at home and he was made to feel at home. I want to give special mention and thanks to Dr. Hesketh Vanterpool, Mrs. Jean Vanterpool, the Eureka, Bougainvillea and medical teams for their unwavering support and care towards him, in particular when he was unwell. I would also like to offer my deepest thanks to the amazing and special Mrs. Astrid Benzer and Ms. Nadine Edwards, who have worked tirelessly not only to create this beautiful memorial, but have also assisted me and my family in so many practical ways. Klas and I were introduced by a mutual friend, and we instantly got on with each other. I thought nothing of it until he asked me out for lunch. At the time, he was working in the far southwest of England, and I lived in London. I remember saying to him that surely it was a long way to travel for lunch. He immediately said that it didn't matter and that he would go anywhere for me. Was I suitably impressed? Well, I was. I remember his infectious smile the day we met for lunch. Afterwards, we had to catch a bus. As we walked to the bus stop, Klas noticed the bus was on its way. I, of course, couldn't run in my heels. However, Klas suddenly took off and ran at high speed and managed to catch the bus, stop the bus until I could get there. I remember thinking, is this a doctor or an Olympic sprinter I've just had lunch with? This was the beginning of our life together, and what a life it has been. Full of fun, laughter, travel, adventures, learning, hurricanes, friendships, and family. In life, I've come to believe that we are blessed to meet people who make a difference in the world and to those in it. He was one of those individuals. There are many things that made him special, and many of them have been generously highlighted today. I would like to share with you the personal tribute I wrote for him as a gift many years ago, which speaks of how I feel about him. And it's called You Truly Are My Soulmate. You've helped to create 3 special children in Miana, Marnie, and Magnus. You demonstrate integrity, compassion, and generosity of spirit. You are loyal to everyone and everything that matters to you. Your jokes may be bad, but they never fail to make me laugh. You let me be me. You have the gift of being able to create positive and lifelong connections with others. You never make me feel invisible. You are a quietly effective soul. You dare to dream and you embrace life. Every day you demonstrate the depth of your love and respect for me. You make me feel that I am the most beautiful woman in the world. You're curious about the world and you have a strong sense of adventure. Dear, sorry, You decided to choose me. I'm truly blessed. You see possibilities where others see failure. You make every effort to put others first and help without expecting reward. You help me to see the world differently. No matter where you are, you always know the best restaurants. You followed your dreams and have created a life full of family, good friends, and wonderful memories. You really are first class. Yes, in so many ways, to me, he was first class. And finally, I would like to read something I wrote, which gives me comfort in my saddest moments. And at the moment, there are many. Hold me in your hearts. To those that I love and those who have loved me, know that I am at peace. My body grew weary, so my spirit had to fly. I have not left you. I'm just on the next part of my journey. I cannot be seen, but can be heard and felt in so many ways. When a rainbow shines through the window, then think of me. When you next watch a beautiful sunset, then think of me. When you see a plane overhead and wonder where it's going, then think of me. Think of me when you admire the simplicity of nature. When you settle down to read a good book, then think of me. Remember the times we laughed, we cried, disagreed, and had fun. Hold me in your hearts, for if you think of me, then I have not gone. Klas loved life, his family, people, friends, work, and adventure. I truly believe him to be an example of a life lived well. I thank all of you, his friends, his colleague. I'm going to just call you family. I thank you for caring for him, loving him, and holding him in your hearts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avril, for sharing with us this morning. We were truly indeed honored. And as you said, that's why we are all here, because we care and we loved him so deeply. Thank you again. At this time, Avril will remain with us as long as she can. She is like 6 hours ahead of us there in Sweden, so she will remain with us for as long as she can. At this time, we're going to be graced with a poem from Team Eureka. This will be read by Joanna Thomas. Come on up, Joanna.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the protocol that was established. A limb has fallen from our family tree. A voice whispers, "Grieve not for me." He stood for what is noble, which made his patience so humble. Remembering the best times, the office jokes and fun, the afternoon spent with great friends in the BVI sun. His acts of human kindness, in unwavering faith and deeds, people whisper it in the wind, an empathetic heart still beats. He leaves behind his name, carved into the hearts of many. A life well lived is most precious, a gift of hope, strength, and grace. He was someone who truly made our world a brighter, better place, filled with moments, sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared and laughter throughout the years. A life well lived is a legacy of joy and pride and pleasure, a living, lasting memory our grateful hearts will treasure. A legacy is not lots of money. A legacy is not material things. Through his children lies a legacy of relationships that will forever live. We ought to continue his heritage. He is counting on us to keep on smiling and live lives without such fuss. Continue traditions, no matter how small. Go on with our lives. Don't stare at the wall. We miss him so dearly, but we are keeping up our chin until that fine day when we are together again.
Thank you very much, Joanna. At this time, we're opening the floor for persons who may want to say something about your experience with Dr. Buring, whether you're a patient or a friend. We would love to give you this opportunity at this time. First, I would love for us to welcome the young lady, Miss Andrew, that Dr. Vanterpool spoke about earlier. She wants to lead out this session, and then I'm going to ask you, please, don't be shy. Come and share how blessed it was for you to know Dr. Buring.
Hello, good morning. So my name is Tiwana, and I am a patient of Dr. Buring. So I have a tribute that I'll just go ahead and read. There are special people in our lives who never leave us even after they are gone. D. Morgan. My family and I met Dr. Klas Buring 11 years ago at one of the hardest times in our life. We walked into his office for the first time with feelings of uncertainty, sadness, and hurt, not knowing what the next steps would be or just how things would have eventually turned out with an unusual medical concern. After thoroughly reviewing my condition and detailing the severity, he told us that he wouldn't be able to offer the surgery I would need. However, where many would have believed that our visits would have ended there, that's where our love for Dr. Buring began. Although for many reasons Dr. Buring could not be able to perform the surgery, like a true angel, he never took his hands off our case. He spent lots of time looking for only the best options to assist us. Dr. Buring accompanied us through every step of the way, easing our fare from consultations to the actual day of surgery. I like to add too, right before I went into surgery, I remember asking him to promise me that he would take pictures of me in surgery so I could see what the inside of my body would look like, or how I would look like being a person, you know. Oh, so as promised, he took the iPad in and sure enough, after recovery, we sat and laughed at the pictures that he took. Ooh. Even after holding us together as a family with encouragement and assistance throughout the journey, he became a part of our family and we became a part of his. Dr. Buring attended my graduation, gave me tons of career advice, allowed us to meet and spend time with his loving wife, Avril, his beautiful daughter, Miana, and even gave me my first little job babysitting his beautiful twins, Magnus and Marnie. There are too many memories to mention, but more than enough to keep him alive in our hearts. Dr. Buring has positively impacted the lives of so many people, helping many others as best as he could, way beyond what was expected of him. While my heart hurts knowing that my family has lost a true gem, I know that at some point God will need his angel back. May he truly rest in peace, knowing that his memory will live for eternity in the hearts of the many people, including myself, whose lives he has touched. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrew. Open floor. Anyone would like to come and say something? Oh, we have Chantel. Chantel Rose is one of our team members at Eureka.
Hi, I remember the few visits I had with Dr. Buring. He would always ask me about how is Jamaica instead of coping with the injection and stuff. But the last time I saw Dr. Buring was going out from Eureka with my baby, and he stopped and asked me, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful. What's her name?" I was like, Michaela. He said, Nakela. I said, no, Doc, Michaela, because, you know, when speaking to Dr. Buring, you have to speak very loud. So he was like, okay, I hope to see you again. So that was my last of Dr. Buring. and then
Can you finish?
I always love Dr. Buring, and I will miss him forever. As soon as he passed, then my foot started act up now, the same one he had give the injection for, because I was planning on coming back to see him after I get my baby, because I have a back problem also, but
Thank you, Chantel. Thank you so very much. And, you know, she lost that baby that Dr. Buring had met that day. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why she's so emotional. Thank you very much, Chantel. Anyone else would like to come and say something? Oh, Mr. Grant from Medicure Laboratory.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Well, it's still morning. Good morning, one and all. Special good morning to Mrs. Buring. I am Marvin Grant, the person responsible with the day-to-day operations of the lab. We will truly miss a giant of a man. And as was referred to, his name says Klas, his wife said first class. I endorse that 100%. Dr. Buring was the type of person who truly cared about his patients, to the point where there were times when he would personally come across to the lab with the request forms, inquired about all the best possible tests to do. And when he would have gotten that advice, sometimes he would say, put the bill on me, or I will take care of that bill. That is how much he cared about his clients and about his fellow co-workers. As they would all mention that from time to time, we all experience pain, and we all experience his wonderful touch with that injection. Pain was gone. So we will surely miss Dr. Buring. The BVI will miss him and all those lives that he has touched. On behalf of the entire lab staff, I want to extend my condolences to his wife and beautiful twins and his other daughter on his passing. And we thank you for sharing him with us. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. We have another, oh, come, Ms. Pickering.
Good morning, everyone. I am, what do you say, a beneficiary of Dr. Buring's attention. I had an injury about 10 years ago and went to see him and needed surgery. I remember saying to my husband, at this age, I'm not going to walk again. And I had surgery on the day I turned 50. I am 61 now, and I am walking very well. But I remember how very kind and gentle he was and continued to be after that procedure. And I smiled when folks were talking about this iPad, because at sometimes during my days, even now, and I go on my computer, for some reason, there comes a picture of my bones and my cartilage that he took and sent to me. And I am forever grateful. I no longer wear a lot of heels, and I never usually wear a lot of heels because I have bow legs, but I am lower down now, but I am more thankful that I can be up and about, and thankful that my leg is good. And I trust that for us who are in the health profession, that our lives will matter, just like Dr. Buring's does, after we have passed. There are so many times that you hear the comment that this nurse, this doctor is so rough, is so, you wonder what they're doing in the profession. But all through this morning, you hear of the tender, gentle giant of a person that he was. And I trust that his memory will continue to live with us, but I trust that his wife and his kids will smile every day when you think of the wonderful person and the blessing that he was to not just you as a family, but all the persons that he came in contact with. The Lord bless you.
Is it afternoon now? Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say, I know you people don't know me, but there is a man that knows me, and his name is Dr. Buring. What is his name? Buring. Buring. Good. I was sick. I wake up one morning and I feel so much pain in my hip. My daughter took me to Dr. Buring, and when I see the doctor, you could feel the compassion that he had for me. The pain was really severe. And when he looked at me, he said, well, I can't admit you to the hospital, but I am going to give you an injection. And when he gave me that injection, brethren, I feel like I am home now. I gone home. I sure this is it. But after he rubbed that place that he gave me the injection, I make a good change. I don't feel the pain anymore. When I walking out, I was walking like a young person. When I am 88 years old, I stepping out like I did not sick. So, brethren, the compassion that Dr. Buring have for me, when I hear that he died, I couldn't hold my tears because he helped me a lot. And he is a loving doctor. He stayed with me there with that injection, and he anoint me there and here until I feel much better. Now my daughter tell me that is Margaret, that today will be his memorial. I am sick because I come from the hospital, but let me tell you, I couldn't miss this for no other love but for Dr. Buring love. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. After the service, I ask that you can visit the table that we have here, just to view a few pictures that we thought that we would share with you regarding Dr. Buring. All right, another colleague, Jelani, would like to say something.
Good morning, everyone. Well, Dr. Buring walked downstairs the same as I do. So I'm the person who like to change hair color and all of that. So, once I change the color, he'll come back, yeah, Jelani, I like that one. So he's always there passing, having small talk. And then everybody came up and say, yeah, Dr. Buring take away the pain, but everybody forget to say he gave the easiest injection. He's the only doctor, whenever I get injection between nurses, doctor ever in the world. He's the only person who can give me an injection. Even when he's saying, oh, you're going to feel a pinch, and then when he's doc, you finish, you sure? Because you ain't feeling nothing at all. Like, he had the softest hands when it comes to those injections. So he will be surely missed. The last time I see him is the day exactly when he was actually going to leave. I was like, doc, my back, but when you come back, you'll deal with it. And he was like, no, I have to leave now, but come let me give you the injection now. So at least he got to give me that last one shot before he left. But he'll be missed. And he was truly appreciated. And my condolences to the rest of the family.
Thank you so much, Jelani. I would really love to have friends of Dr. Buring to say something. I see quite a few persons here that I know, your friends or, longtime acquaintances. I would love to have some of you come. I don't think we're shy. Anyone? No one? All right, we have Dr. Vanderpool. Okay. We have the Fonseca family. They would like for us to play a song in tribute to Dr. Buring. It's a song that I think I heard this song for the first time from a patient of ours a few years ago, People Like You. And that song just blessed me so much when I heard it. And so if we can play that song now, then we'd love to play it. I'd love for you to listen to the song, listen to the words, and then please, if there's any other friend or acquaintance, please, we don't want you to leave without saying something.
If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who lost their way, there's a place for people like you. Streets are made of gold. When you take down here, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you try to be the change you wanna see, if you lay so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. Streets are made of gold. When you take place for people like you. So when the days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. Just keep doing what you do. 'Cause there's a place up there for people like you.
Wow, thank you so much to the Fonseca family for requesting that song. I still want to give those who want to say something the opportunity to do so. Thank you, Dr. Yi Singh.
Thank you. Frog in my throat. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about my throat. First of all, I'd like to offer my condolences to Mrs. Buring and the family. On behalf of myself, I was a colleague of Dr. Buring. He's always sharing his photos. At first, it was his eldest daughter, and she was a budding actress. And he would show me the movies that she would act in. And I was really thrilled because I knew one of the movies. So I was always looking out for her in that movie. So he shared that. And then after that, the twins came. And we'd also share the twins' photographs of how they were growing, what they were saying, what they were doing. So each time I saw him, I looked forward to the next step in the lives of the children and yourself. I first met Dr. Buring when I was at Peebles Hospital. I don't know if you remember old Peebles. And he was an orthopedic surgeon there. And we worked together because being a general surgeon, we had to assist. We didn't have an orthopedic team, but Dr. Buring would come to assist us with our orthopedic cases. And I remember one day in surgery, we were doing a procedure, but we needed a piece of equipment in order to complete the surgery. And we couldn't find the equipment. And all of a sudden, Dr. Buring scrubbed out. We don't know where he went, you know. We thought he went to the bathroom. So we were waiting and waiting. We went to check the bathroom. He wasn't there. So wondering, where did Dr. Buring go? He's in the middle of surgery, you know. And someone said, oh, he went down to the machine shop because he needed a piece of equipment. So he found a piece of old iron down there, and he's chipping it out so that he could use it in the surgery. Oh, we were so shocked. He actually did that, but the surgery was successful if he didn't do that. But he's so innovative and so caring. He cared about the patient. He wanted to complete the surgery. And we were so moved by his compassion. I couldn't believe it. You know, he stopped the surgery. He went to get the equipment down in the old machine shop. He chipped it out, he got it sterilized, and he came and he finished the surgery. I was really moved. And that has stayed with me for years. And I thought, I wish we had more surgeons who were so compassionate, caring, and really, you know, loving to patients, caring more. I think I learned a lot from him. He was really a good person. And there were many others that he cared about, patients that he would use his own funds to take them to other places to get medical care, and he remained there with them. For as long as they were there, he would go back and forth for almost a year with this patient undergoing treatment overseas. He arranged everything, you know. He was such a compassionate, caring, loving person. I keep saying it because it's important that as doctors and surgeons, we need to take a leaf out of Dr. Buring's book and out of his life. And this place would be much better. The standard of care would be so much better and so much higher if we could emulate him. And as they say, this would be one of his legacy to, you know, show the importance of caring about people and not caring about money, but caring about people's health and making life better for people, not only in the BVI, but all over the world, right? And I must say thanks to his family for sharing Dr. Buring with us. It made a big difference in the BVI, and I know how much you must have missed him when he wasn't there. But thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yising. We have one more person. all these lives that Dr. Buring has touched.
Good morning, all. My name is Myrtle Stout-Freites, and I'm a nurse. I first met Dr. Buring in 2016, where he cared for Paulina Dean. Dr. Buring came, he sat with me, he encouraged me. He cared about Paulina so deeply that I just couldn't understand. But then when I lost my daughter, who was also a clinician, he became, I would say, my brother. Dr. Buring came to my home practically almost every day, trying to encourage me and help me on my way. He came, I didn't expect him to show up to my daughter's funeral, but he came and he was there for me. He met my daughter about 2 months ago, and he inquired. And when he found out that she was my daughter, he said, I can't charge you anything. Your mother is my friend. Avril, good day. I'm praying for you. He came to see me just before he left, and he told me he was not feeling well. I gave him a hug, he hugged me and tears came down, and then he left. I'll continue to pray for you. Take care of yourself and the children. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I met Dr. Buring when I was working at Eureka. And I never met someone with such a pure heart. Dr. Buring is such a kind, gentle, and a loving person. He always listens. He loved to reason. He loved to ask you about your family. And I can remember one day I was there and I went into his office and we were there talking and Dr. Buring was talking to me, and then he got to realize that my kids, they are living in England. So from since then, every time when we meet, he would ask me, Jackie, how are the kids? How are the kids? And I would say, they are fine. One year, Dr. Buring told me that he was going up. And I asked him to carry up some stuff for me for the kids. And he didn't hesitate. He said, yes, Jackie. He didn't even ask me what it is. And I took some Christmas cakes and thought for him to take up for the kids. You know, some people, when you give them certain things to carry for you, they would wonder maybe why. But Dr. Buring didn't say anything. He take it with love. And he carried them home for me. And from since then, every year Dr. Buring growing up, he made sure he gave me a notice. Jackie, I'm going up. Do you have anything for the kids? So Dr. Buring always take up things every year for the kids them from me. And I remember I have some money to send for the kids them one time. And I don't know how the conversation come up with me. I can't remember. With me and Dr. Buring. Dr. Buring said, Jackie, don't worry. Tell you what you do. I've never met anyone like Dr. Buring with such a heart of love for people. Dr. Buring said, Jackie, what you do, bring the money, come, and I will take the US, and give me your daughter in England account number, and I will transfer the money from my England account to her account, and you gave me the US. That was so amazing for me because it's not everybody you buck up would do something like this for you. And Dr. Buring do it for me, and from since then, me and Dr. Buring become so close. And when my daughter growing up, my smallest daughter at the time, she used to travel with Dr. Buring. Dr. Buring used to accompany her. We always book her ticket when I know Dr. Buring is going, that she could travel with Dr. Buring. And I can remember one year that went up that at this time, the twins were born. And he was coming back down with his wife, Avril. My condolence, Avril. This is Jackie. And he took her on a charter flight with him. It's not everybody who would do something like that for someone. Took your child on a charter flight with them, and he was coming back with his family. And he took her on a charter flight with him back to Tatola. And he told me, he said, Jackie, I took a charter flight to come back to Tatola because the kids are small and I don't want to sit in Antigua airport for so long with them. So I took a charter flight. And this is just one question I ask myself all the time. Does Dr. Buring ever say no to anyone?
Good afternoon, everyone. My condolences to the family. As Jackie would say, she sums up it all. But I tell you, I call him the fixer-upper because I tell you, our pain was in this arm. And it's amazing. He did his miracle. And here it is, okay. But now, I missed him so much, because there's a pain in the knee now. And I wonder who's gonna fix that. But I hope Dr. Vanderpool gets someone who is just amazing as he would be, that he can fix my knee. So you guys have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. That's Jackie and Charmaine. Anyone else? If not, we're about to close. Oh, Bianca? Oh, we have two of the persons who would do interpretations and so forth for Dr. Buring.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to express my condolence to Dr. Buring family. I just want to say something quickly, and it's when Dr. Buring called in my extension, right? I had to leave everything that I was doing. I had to close everything because I know that will take more than 10 or 15 minutes because he spent time with the patient. It's not just like he say, oh, I had to see the patient, and no, he have the compassion with the patient. He take his time, and it's something like sometimes he told me, Janet, because he called me Janet. Janet, sit down. I said, no, Dr. Buring, that's fine. And when I realized that I'm over there like 20 or 30 minutes, I just had to decide to have a seat. Because he take his time with the patient. He have a love for him. And the Spanish community expressed a condolence for him as well, because he have a lot of Spanish patients that love him because he was a love man.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bianca. I was one of his translators. All I can say is that he was one of the best doctors I ever met. And I will always remember his, can you give me a minute? That will turn to 2-3 hours. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to be there, to assist in what he needed. Thank you.
Okay, Evelyn is coming. That's our senior nurse. One thing about doing the interpretation for Dr. Buring, and we make fun about it all the time in the office. When the either of the girls would go, they would say to me, Miss Edwards, see you tomorrow. I'm going to do some interpretation for Dr. Buring, because they know that if they go for a consultation with one of our Spanish-speaking patients, instead of, like a 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they're going to be there for a long time, because he would go from top to bottom with the notes just to make sure that he has the right patient in front of him. So they would just jokingly say, oh, Miss Edwards, see you tomorrow, because they know he's going to take his time. Thank you again, ladies, for the service that you provided to Dr. Buring.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Avril. Sending our deepest condolences to you and to your family, okay? I want to say something, but I don't want to cry here because we are celebrating happy moments with Dr. Buring. Just saying, in behalf of the nurses, I know Dr. Buring is the coolest doctor that we had, and he's the only doctor who never gets angry to us, okay? You never heard him saying anything that is going to make upset us, or sometimes we're upset with him, but he's not upset with us, so it's like, what's going on here? Right, so especially those nurses who work closely with him downstairs, I know they really going to miss him. And also, Dr. Buring, whenever he has a patient who is a Filipino, he would call my extension, Evelyn, do you have a time? I said, yes, Dr. Buring, why? Can you come into my office, please? And then, he wanted to make sure that whatever advice that he's given to the patient understands it. And of course, there are a few times that, he would say, this patient is just new to the island. The patient doesn't have any NHI, and we're trying to help, with the medication. Maybe you have a little extra there that you can help pay the patient, medication and this and that, which it's really he's really nice. And one time he asked me about my eldest son when he just finished high school. So I told him, oh, he's going to Netherlands for his university. And he said, oh, really? So Evelyn, during Christmas, if he cannot come home here in the BVI, he can just go across to Sweden, and he can have a place there to stay with Avril for the holiday, which I really appreciate it. And also, July, on the 16th of July in the morning, I was in with Dr. Van der Poel's office, and we were talking early in the morning. I said to him, Doc, because I know when Dr. Buring left, me and him spoke, because I know he said he has to go and see what, his medical condition with his heart problem and stuff like that. So we were discussing things and stuff like that. So on the July 16, I was with Dr. Van der Poel, and I said to Doc, have you heard anything about Dr. Buring yet? Do you have any update on him, on what's going on? What happened to him? Did he do any surgery or anything? He said, actually, no, I don't have any updates about him. I said, maybe it's time that we can get in contact with Avril and see what's going on and to find out how is he doing. He said, oh, yes, we will do that. And then the day after in the morning, Doc messaged me that he just got a message that he passed. So it was really, really sad. So that's all I can say. So I'm sure Dr. Buring, we will miss him very much. Okay, Avril? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nurse Evelyn. We are at the end of our program. I still wouldn't mind if one more person from his friends or acquaintances would like to say something. Mrs. Williams, the manager for Bougainvillea Clinic.
It would be remiss if I did not come up here this morning. I guess it's afternoon now. and to give my words of condolences to you, Avril, and the rest of the family. I met Dr. Buring while I was working at People's Hospital, not only as a nurse, but as a patient. And I remember this distinctly because I was working the late shift that night, and we had an emergency, which was a gunshot case. And I knew my shift would extend into the morning. And my shoulder decided it was going to be a night of hell. I couldn't raise my hand, I couldn't do anything. It was just sheer agony. Dr. Buring was called in for the same case, which had to be rushed to the operating theater. And in passing me, he said, "Nurse Williams, what's wrong?" And I said, "Doc, I don't know what's wrong with my shoulder, but right now, I don't even know whether I can go through the night with this." And he said, "Come to the operating theater door." I got to the door. He said, "Sit there." And as everybody says, it's one of the softest hands that can touch your body. He examined my shoulder, and he said to the nurse in theater, "I need XYZ." And he injected that joint. And I was able to finish that shift 5 o'clock the following morning. Fast track to me transitioning to Bougainvillea Clinic as a manager and having to work not only along with him, but the team that he also managed at Eureka Clinic. You would always hear patients talk about Dr. Buring. It was always something positive, someone who was caring, someone who was there for you through the thick and thin of your condition. And as a patient in January myself, I was able to experience what everybody talked about. I stepped in his office. I spent maybe an hour to an hour and a half with him, going through from the beginning to the end, making sure he crossed all his T's and dotted all his I's, making sure that everything that I told him about, he was able to find out what was going on. And I remember a couple of days after, I said to Dr. Vanterpool, "I wish all of our doctors was like Dr. Buring because of his thoroughness and of his love for patients and the compassion that he shows to each and every one. It's not because I'm the manager of the clinic, but it's what he shows to each and every one who steps into that office. And I applaud him. His legacy is going to be one that cannot be forgotten by anyone in the BVI. And even if you were not a patient, you would have heard about this good doctor. Rest in peace, Dr. Buring. And he was really a class, one that nobody else can ever replace. Thank you, Avril.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Williams. Avril, we thank you. Thank you for those many days that you were without him and nights, you know, wanted a little cuddle and he was not there because he had to be here with us. We thank you for lending him to us for those many years that he was a part of the BVI community. We are ever so grateful. Thank you to you and the children. And please, when they grow up and they're able to understand what we're doing here today, let them know he was so loved by all of us and he was so cherished. Thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you who came out this morning, this afternoon, to pay respects to Dr. Buring, his life and legacy. I do appreciate it. From our directors, we have a couple Dr. Vanterpools in the building, but to all our doctors, Dr. Harlan, other doctors who are here with us, Dr. Arends, who is another orthopedic doctor that we have at Bougainvillea Clinic, members of the community, the various clubs that he was a part of. I learned recently that there was a swimming team that he would go out and swim with on a Sunday. If it was 5 or 20 or just 2 of them, that they would indeed go swimming. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for touching his life the way you did and for allowing him to touch your lives the way he has touched it. I want to thank all my team members at Eureka. I want to thank my team members at Bougainvillea Clinic. I want to thank those who have allowed us to have this service here in this beautiful facility. The last time I was here, I was running up and down the corridors based on my trainer upstairs who watched me run up and down. That's the last time I was in this building. I want to thank those who have come out, ensure that we had proper PA system, proper connectivity to connect Avril and all the others who wanted to join us via our Zoom platform. I want to thank those who have contributed to the success of this service in any possible way that you have. I am so grateful to you this morning, and I trust that if you leave with nothing else, leave with the thought that you must leave a positive legacy. Let it be known for the good that you contributed to our world, to our society, to your communities, to your club, to your workplace. Let it be known that you contributed in a very positive way. I thank you so much, and I would love for you all to stand with me as I pray a closing prayer, after which you are welcome to partake of some refreshments that we have on my right, your left. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for all that you have done for us. We thank you for life. We thank you for the opportunity that you have given us for this day. It is a beautiful day. It is a day that you have made, and we are so glad to be in today. Father, we have celebrated the life and the legacy of our dear beloved Dr. Klas Buring. We are so grateful, Lord, that you gave him to us for the time that you did. And Lord, none of us can say this morning or this afternoon that we have not been touched deeply by his care, by his love, by his understanding, by his empathy. Oh God, he has been so much to so many persons, and we are grateful. You thought it fit to take him home. And sometimes we don't understand why. Sometimes we We want to hold on for a little longer. We wish we had more time. But Lord, you gave us, and you said it was time to take him home. We are happy for the moments, the days, the years that we shared with him. We are happy for the moments in our parties where he danced and he got down on the floor, even lower than many of us could as younger folks. We are so grateful. We are so thankful. We are thankful for the lives that he touched, the miracles that occurred through his healing hands. Lord God, through the medical knowledge that you gave him, his astuteness, Lord God Almighty, we thank you. We thank you that he was alert, he was discerning, that he used everything that he knew towards his patient and their care. We are grateful this afternoon. Father, as we now come to the end of this service, we ask that you go with each and every person. We ask, Lord, that you resonate within our hearts and our spirits how critical it is for us to love on each other, love on our families and friends, and to ensure that we indeed leave this world better than it was when we came. Father, I bless your name this afternoon. I give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. I thank you. Bless Avril and the children. Father, they knew him on a more personal and intimate way, and I know they miss him the most. We cry, but I can imagine Avril at times when she lays down and he would normally be beside her, but he's no longer there. I can imagine the ache of her heart. I pray that you will console her. I pray that you will be with her. I pray that you will uphold her and the children, his family, his siblings. Hold them up, Lord, in the palm of your wonderful hands. Lord, when they cry secretly, when the tears flow, it's a language someone says that you understand. And so I pray that you will be with them, surround them, protect them, uphold them, encourage their hearts at moments when we can't be there. Father, I bless your name this afternoon. I give you all the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for your attendance again. Please do have a wonderful rest of the day and week and months and years ahead. God bless you. You are now dismissed and you may take part of what we have provided to refresh you. Thank you.